Welcome to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Dave Candido.
We're coming at you with the 1987 Running Man film, Arnold Schwarzenegger in full sci-fi glory. Here's this cool, 4K one I got.
Oh, nice.
It's got one of those cool metal cases. The version's kind of a letdown because it's literally no special features or anything.
That's lame.
But I have an older Blu-ray one of Running Man, and the only special feature it has is kind of like this one that's partially just related. It's not really about the Running Man, it's just about sci-fi stuff or something like that. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Top it off though, I got the VHS though.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, good old VHS. But yeah, Running Man, this is one of those ones that I have loved for a long time. It's fun.
It's a great movie.
It's cool sci-fi stuff. It's goofy, but also, especially nowadays, it's a very, very hitting home almost in a sense, because some of the stuff that goes on in here is one of those ones that you would have watched in the 90s and whatnot and been like, oh, that's kind of very sci-fi-y and so on like that. You watch it nowadays, you go, well, shit, that's what they do right nowadays. It's as accurate as all can be, this movie.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, well, it's funny. I actually saw this movie for the first time a couple years ago. My wife and I went up to go to a concert, Dream Theater, Devin Townsend, and Animals as Leaders. Mm-hmm. From what I remember of that show, it was fantastic. But immediately after we watched the movie, because we were waiting, for the show, because we were just about a 7-hour drive, 8-hour drive from here, and we just decided to go get some food and whatnot, and came back and watched Running Man, and then what a blast! It's Arnold in all of his pun glory. I feel like it's not the same movie at all as Commando, but
no,
but I love it just as much for the sake of. I guess it's just classic Arnold. It was the second movie that came to mind when I thought about all of his jokes. I think that really sets him apart from the other action stars. I don't think any of the other ones really. Maybe Jean-Claude Van Damme had a few one-liners here and there, but I don't know. Arnold, I feel like he's like the king of the muscle-bound hilarity.
Yeah, he definitely has. 007 actually has quite a bit of one-liners when you think about that throughout the years.
But that's a lot of different actors there.
Yeah, that's true. It's it's not the same thing, but just even as a character, I guess, because even Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan, even Sean Connery, they all have those one-liners. That's kind of almost, I feel like Bond movies kind of created the action movie one-liner thing that you gotta.
Yeah, maybe it did.
Once you kill somebody, you gotta say something cool right afterwards.
Unless you're Daniel Craig.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he just kills a lot of people, and then hard cut tosses the dude in a trash can. Doesn't question it.
My wife didn't. I actually really I don't think I saw the last one with him in it, but I saw the first one, Casino Royale, and then I saw Quantum of Solace. I saw Skyfall. Wait, was Skyfall the second?
That's the third one. Quantum of Solace is the second one.
I saw Skyfall, and then was there one after that?
There's Spectre, and then there is the final one, which I'm drawing. No Time to Die.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't see those two.
I kid you not; those last two are a little bit goofy. They're not terrible, but they're goofy. There's some weird stuff going in those ones.
But yeah, I really liked those first three movies.
Yeah, the first three are good.
I'm not really partial to any Bond out there. I don't think I've ever seen a Bond movie I didn't like. But and I'm sure the aficionado is going to tell me which Bond is the best Bond and which Bond's the worst Bond, and so on and so forth. But
I think it's a personal preference, realistically.
I really think it is.
I don't think there's no such thing as a bad Bond.
I don't think so. My wife can't stand Daniel Craig as Bond, though. And I'm always like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, she's like, all he does is kill people. I'm like, well, he's a spy.
Yeah,
and he's got a license to kill.
Yeah, it was in the title of one of the movies.
But she was telling me though, and I have to give her this, is that Bond, he's always been, I think one of the most consistent things about his character is being a gentleman, being a womanizer, but being very graceful
Caring.
at it. Maybe a lot of charisma, very charismatic. Charming, yes. And she's like, I don't see any of that with Daniel Craig. All he is a killer. And I'm like, fair enough. I get it. Just a very different take on Bond. That's all.
Yeah, well, it's like in the books, the Ian Fleming ones, he's a little bit more rougher and more like angry and so on like that. So that's where Daniel Craig he has a little bit more of that there. Same with Timothy Dalton's Bond, because Timothy Dalton's Bond's kind of in that similar category too.
Okay.
Where he's a little bit more intense.
Yeah, not as much. He's a little more focused on the mission.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, like Roger Moore's just having a good time. Like, you know,
more stinking. From Russia with Love.
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
Yeah. George Lazenby.
Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
I remember one of the very first scenes I'd watched from a Pierce Brosnan Bond film. I'd like walked into the room as somebody else was watching the movie, is where Brosnan he's having this fight. I think it was right after he just had sex with a woman. They're just beating the crap out of each other, and I think she's like wearing a towel. And,
it's like in GoldenEye when she's Xenia's attacking him, and she's like trying to crush Bond with her thighs.
I think so. I'm just like, what the hell am I watching here? But
in '95, as a kid seeing that in cinemas, that was an intense scene.
What all that noise is? But anyway, now going back to Schwarzenegger and Running Man here. Great time.
Running Man. Yeah, Schwarzenegger's really trying to get those one-liners in this one. Probably, if anything, this and Commando, I think, are the two movies that he's got close to the most amount of one-liners. I would say Last Action Hero is kind of about that too, but
it's like one after another. Right after like he kills Bonesaw. He threw a joke in there right when he killed him, and then right when Mendez asks, what happened to Bonesaw, which is like not even a moment later. You had to split.
Yeah, the split. Here is Sub-Zero now, Plane Zero.
No, exactly. I almost thought as I was watching this again, I kept thinking, I wonder if this is another movie that Kojima used as inspiration with Metal Gear Solid 3. Just with the goofy ass villains and the sequence of fighting them and whatnot.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, kind of even like once again, Commando's like that too, where you have like all the villains in that one are all like real characters in the sense. Yeah, and slightly over the top. Have you ever read the Stephen King book of The Running Man?
No, I haven't.
It's pretty interesting. I'll say this: the movie I think is actually much better, and I feel like that kind of goes with a lot. I like Stephen King a lot, but I think a lot of times I think Stephen King's a great idea person, and sometimes he almost just needs somebody to kind of filter it down to like what it really is. It's like The Shining. It's like the book's not bad, but it's very like long and stretched out for no real good reason, and there's some goofy stuff in there. I feel like Stanley Kubrick kind of takes that and goes, okay, this is the best stuff. Let's just solidify it into here. And I sometimes look at The Running Man kind of like that too, though there is some interesting things in it. In the book, it's actually a lot more like toned down as far as it's not like as over the top. It's more like, here's a dystopian future, and there's a guy, and he's got a family, and his like daughter's sick, and like the only way he can really get a job is he signs up for the Running Man, and he's hopefully going to get paid so he can get the medicine that she needs. And instead of being like it's a game show, but it's weird in the book, instead of being like a game show that's like like almost like at Universal Studios or something like that, like on a sound stage, this one just takes place in the real world, and they just like send him out there. And it sounds actually almost like something that would be like nowadays, where he has to send in 2 videos a day, like updates of what he's doing. But then everybody else that's out there if they can get video footage of him, or like there's professionals, but then even amateur people, they can still make money off of this. So it just sounds like if everybody had cell phones and they were taking photos of this guy or videos of the Running Man out there. And so he's just running around and so on like that. And for the most part, there's not as much action. It's a little bit more like he's just talking to people and hiding out and so on there. But it's still interesting. It focuses more on like the dark side of like there's a lot of pollution in the air and so on like that. Sure. And people have these like nose filters and so on, and none of the poor people can afford it. Which I was thinking about that because I went and listened to the book again because I read it a long time ago, and then I was like, I'm just going to re-listen to it just to refresh my mind. And I think about this like a lot of 80s stuff is there used to be a time period where people were like super concerned that like pollution was just going to destroy everything and it was never going to get better. And when you kind of think about it, like, well, pollution's gotten a lot better since the 80s. It used to be way worse. I think if somebody says like it hasn't, be like, whoa, I think you've kind of forgotten like that.
Oh, it
used
certainly
to be.
has. The another thing too that a lot of people don't think about is in the Industrial Revolution. Manufacturing polluted way more than it does today. The caveat is there's more production now than there was back then, but the production's cleaner. But I don't know how much it really evens out since there's so much more now, especially in China.
You got a lot of that stuff there. Well, yeah, because like that's why like in England, like in the 1800s, like the Jack the Ripper days. That's why like it was always black when it was in that sky because there's just coal was just blowing out like nobody cared, you know. So yeah, there's some of those things I think people kind of forget, but yeah, they focus a lot on, or Stephen King focused a lot on it. Like, man, the pollution's gonna be really bad. It's like it's just only gonna get worse, and it's like that's one of those few ones where it's like, no, it actually got better. I mean, it's still there's still pollution, but it's cars are kind of calmed down a lot more. You know, they're not like those old '70s ones driving around.
Only in California.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Nobody cares anywhere else. That's why you got to pay an extra $1 for gas in California.
It's an extra $1. Holy crap!
Plus,
what the last time you paid gas or purchased gas? When do you think that was?
A couple days ago. It probably was like $4.20 or something like that.
$4.20 a gallon. I bought gas yesterday. It was $2.74.
Oh yeah, so it's twice the price in California.
When I first came, when I came out here again to the central Missouri area. The town I lived in, which is only about 15 miles down the road. Actually, it's not even. Anyway, gas was $3.69 a gallon. And this was in the middle of 2022. And all the dudes that I knew who were still here, they're gone now. One of the conversations one day at a lunch or whatever is, oh, I can't believe how expensive gas is, man. It's just killing me. I'm going, dude, I just left California and I literally paid over $7 a gas at one of the gas stations I stopped at before I came.
One of those ones on like the border, like when you're like leaving.
Yeah, like in
Bridgeport or Needles
or the Grapevine or something. Yeah. I'm like, you have no idea. But I was loving life the other day. It was like I was paying like $2.50 a gallon and filling up my car for like $18. But I have never seen it go above $4 here since I've been back, which for me, I'd love it. But
I don't think I've ever seen it go other than like some of the weird towns that are just way more expensive in California, like the average California price. I don't think I've ever seen it going too much higher than 5 something. Like
it was, dude. And when I was working there,
50 or something,
right before I left again, it was over $6 in Arnold for like
really
a few months. It would fluctuate between like $5.50 and over $6. Never got to 7 up there. Yeah, but I was like, dude, I can't do this. Anyway. Where were we at there before?
We were talking about pollution and all that kind of stuff from the Running Man, like in the book and so on, which is not brought up at all in the movie. The movie's got like that dystopian kind of feel.
Totally.
Like, it's got that like Paul Verhoeven, like almost like the weird thing about it, like Paul Verhoeven, the dude who did RoboCop and Total Recall and Starship Troopers and all that stuff. This movie almost kind of feels like a Paul Verhoeven kind of knockoff, like almost like if you, at first glance, you might even think it's Paul Verhoeven. It's got Schwarzenegger and everything in it as well, too. But it's not. The strange thing is the director it's got for it is Paul Michael Glazer, and that's the dude who played Starsky and Hutch back in the day. Which I know that like there's like the things that like he was kind of swapped in there like last minute because the other guy that was initially supposed to direct it was Andrew Davis, who he's done a bunch of good stuff. Okay, he did like Above the Law, Under Siege, Fugitive. He did Collateral Damage with Arnold later on, so they came back to work together. But which when you hear that, you're like, well, that seems like a pretty good guy. And then it's like the downfall I think that Arnold kind of had for the other dude, the Starsky directing it, is that he kind of directed it like a TV show. I mean, granted, it's about a TV show, but Arnold thought that like the production felt always a little bit kind of like lower, not as theatrical and not as like dark and deep as it should have been, which I guess if you sit down and think of it like that, you can kind of see a little bit of that in there, Because the weird thing is this movie comes out like 4 months after Predator does, and Predator seems like a lot more futuristic. I don't mean futuristic as in like time, but like cinema wise, like that movie looks. Yeah, it, like you would think this movie
seems like
almost
a better production for sure.
Yeah, like this one feels like if you told me this was like realistically like 85, it feels a lot more believable that that's what it would be, not post Predator.
No, it really doesn't. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I did love the fact that I completely forgot that Jesse Ventura is in the movie, and because I was thinking like, well, he's in Predator with Arnold. I was wondering if he might be in any others with Arnold because I'm really not sure.
No, I think that's it for him being with Arnold.
I love anytime I see Jesse Ventura on screen. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, same here. I get excited when he's on anything. He shows up on a podcast or anything like that. I'm listening in an instant.
Just that initial scene where he's doing the workout show. It's like, yeah,
he's like pointed. So and he's just got more hair than he's probably had since he was 10 years old.
He's a dude's such an icon in more ways than one. The fact that he was in the wrestling, was he in WWF or was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was in like WWF and like pretty much he was like big in the 70s and early 80s, and then he became the commentator in the 80s and early 90s. So you got Jesse the Body, the wrestler, then you got Jesse like the voice, and then you got Jesse when he did like radio shows, and then he wrote books, and then he was governor of Minnesota. Yeah. He was in the Navy SEALs. If nobody knew that, he'll remind you all the time. Were you in the Navy SEALs? I was in the Navy SEALs.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he had beef with the Kyle.
The American Sniper guy.
Yeah, Chris Kyle. He had beef with him. After the dude was dead, he like sued the estate of the guy for stuff that he was accusing of the guy lying in his book, which who knows? I mean, I don't really even care. But the fact that usually every time I think about Jesse Ventura, I always think about him being a wrestler, even though I've never really seen him wrestling. And that then makes me think, for whatever reason, of Randy Savage. And you see it, my mind's always going ping-ponging everywhere, which there's a gas station right next to my school that I want to really make them an offer on. They have a Slim Jim holder.
Oh, the Macho Man?
A bust of Macho Man. And I don't know. It's so cool. I want to ask him, like, hey, what do you get? What do I got to pay you for this?
You should.
Gotta be old.
Buddy ended up buying one from a gas station that I pointed him out that had one. He paid $100 for it.
That's pretty hilarious. I don't know if I'll pay $100, but I feel like I kind of want to. But I saw it. I'm like, that's had to have been here for like 20 years. But
yeah, they're pretty bad. No, they're actually new ones because they have like a new version of the Slim Jims. So they've been coming out with these new promo ones, and there's multiple versions of those plastic Macho Man ones out there. There's like 6 different ones.
Man, well, now I don't care that much. If it's new, what the hell? Dude's been dead for how long? I mean, geez.
They're still making money off of them, Those things go for like $300 on eBay.
Jeez. Well. Anyway,
so $100 is a steal almost.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, Jesse Ventura, man, I loved him showing up, and then just those little scenes of his throughout the movie were great too. And I kind of didn't quite understand what the hell happened to him. I guess we can get into that a little later in here, but the last he's that guy who's like their ultimate champion, right? But he's retired. And seemingly he's the only retired one because of what happens to all the other, winners in the competition. But Arnold here, he's a policeman, if you want to call him that. He's, kind of like the Gestapo of this society, and but
California.
Yeah, exactly. But he doesn't want to fire upon unarmed people.
Yeah, and there's a big old protest going on in Bakersfield of all places and whatnot.
Yeah, which is also hilarious. Very interesting choice for a for a movie setting. But did it take place in Bakersfield in the book?
No, it's actually on the East Coast. This is the thing is, okay, the book's written under that Richard Bachman, like, pseudonym that Stephen King has.
Yeah.
When you read the book, well, where are they going to? Oh, they're going to Derry. They're going to, like, Maryland, and they're going to, what the heck's, Maine and all that stuff. It's like, Stephen King's just like, this is 100% Stephen King. I used to think that in that book, and when I first read it back in the day, when I was probably read it like in high school, is I thought the book was like a cross country trip where like you had to go from like the East Coast of like New York all the way to the West Coast, because there's a part where they mentioned Portland, and I thought Portland, Oregon was where they were at for a bit, and I realized later in my second read it's like, oh no, it's like Portland. Yeah, Portland, Maine. And so he hasn't really gone very far. He went like a state over, and that was about as far as he got in the run.
That's funny.
So that cross country trip thing is not nearly as exciting and big as I thought it was for the longest time.
Heck yeah. That's pretty funny. Yeah, no, Arnold, I'd never read the book, obviously, so I'm taking all this information as new that you're giving me here. But no, yeah, so he's a cop, right? And they're supposed to be, I guess, enforcing all these really strict laws that you would expect from a dystopian society. That's funny how many different movies and stories there are of this kind of this whole idea, right?
Yeah, well, that's the thing is I think also that's another like 80s belief is that we really thought that like
this was going to happen by now.
It's going to go totalitarianism on you and stuff. And in fact, it actually only has gotten more lenient.
Yeah, no shit.
Other than like, I mean, so lenient that like, other than like a few people out there, like, you can almost do whatever you want and nobody cares. Where like in these worlds here, it's just like, oh no, you're out protesting, send in the helicopter patrol.
Exactly. Well, I mean, trust me, there's a lot of people that feel like that's actually what's happening. But no, the what's kind of funny is when they first show the stadium, or I guess it's the stadium that they show, and all the dancers and the whole production. I actually thought of Idiocracy. A little bit like a very serious Idiocracy, because it's funny, man. You know that in this type of scenario, the masses will just flock to this kind of shit. You know, like, oh, this is great. This guy's killing them. You know, and the prizes. Like typical game show type of thing, right? Running Man at home. Like who's gonna play that? Shit was just hilarious. And then the betting, of course, that's another great thing, which is funny. In such a society, you would think you wouldn't be allowed to bet, of course, unless that means that the people in charge make money. So
that's probably true too. And I mean, like the area that they're betting at seems like kind of like almost like they're in the ghetto. Like they're literally like out there. There's just like a giant like TV from like a concert there that's there to show them like the Running Man, and they want them to watch it. Well, yeah, going back to that intro of Arnold coming in to stop he's coming in to stop or to pretty much the protesters, and they want Arnold to fire on these protesters from a helicopter, and Arnold refuses to. So of course he gets into a scuffle with the other guys on there, gets knocked out, and next thing you know, he wakes up and he's in jail and blamed for be the butcher of Bakersfield. The biggest thing that happened to Bakersfield until corn came out.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, I thought that was so. There's something about. I don't think Arnold's a bad actor by any means, but sometimes it's so. Sometimes some of his lines sound so rehearsed to me, but I don't mind it because it's just hilarious. It's. You look at this big giant guy who could be whatever, man. Like that guy could have been a warrior. He could have been he could have been a real life police officer, probably. Could have been
just like his dad.
Special forces. Could have been all kinds of stuff. But he's Arnold. He's a bodybuilder. He's an actor. And then some of these lines, like, "Are you crazy? I will not fire on unarmed citizen." Like it just. But he didn't say it really in this with any it wasn't a very charismatic line. He just says it like matter of fact, right? And I don't know. It's just kind of funny to me. But I just I've never seen an Arnold movie I didn't like. I've never. No. It's just it doesn't matter how good or bad the scene might have been or how cheesy some of the lines are. You're gonna keep going back because he's like that one band that never put out a bad record. You know, you're like, I will always go see them.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Is Arnold stuff. It's always good. You're always going to have a good time, and even if he might have that kind of stagnant like lines every once in a while that are kind of it doesn't matter because it's Arnold and like his charisma is going to outweigh anything, anyways. You know.
And so so he won't fire. So the guys that are in the chopper with him, like, it's almost like it was planned, which it probably was. They probably were going to take someone in the. It probably didn't even have to be him. You know, could have been anyone who they chose to just throw under the bus and say, "Oh, he killed all these people, so now you go to jail." That whole jail scene I thought was pretty cool. In fact, when I first saw this movie, I had no idea what was going to happen. I had no idea what the film was about, really, and I was kind of expecting it to be like a prison break movie. And then that lasted for about 5 minutes. And then, but that said, though, I love the scene where, you know, it's this prison riot break, freaking craziness. They go out to the yard where they're trying to run away, but they have those like invisible barriers that where, you know, if their collar that's on their neck touches one of the, you know, like passes through the field, then of course somebody like somehow blows their head off. And that scene where Chico, I think, runs through, Chico, no. And like, I guess Chico's deaf because I don't know how many guys yelled for him, like, don't do it. You're going to die. You know, like if the barrier's still active and he just keeps on running. And
he's just running
until his head, you know.
And that's a great, I love that special effect there because it's just this guy running and poof, the head pops off and everything.
And then the next frame is just this. Like it's so obvious too, but it's hilarious. This corpse just on the ground, just laying flat, like with no head. But no, it made me laugh. That's the things I laugh at.
Yeah, that's what I find funny.
But then the other guys, they get that barrier down and they run out of there, and then go meet up with this like underground, you know, like rebel force or whatever. Arnold parts ways, and he just wants to live his simple exiled life and as a convict and just working. You know, it's one of those things where like there's an old, I think it was a Clint Eastwood movie, but I can't remember. Maybe where he, all these dudes are buff, like super buff, and they're just like workers. No one's really like bodybuilders or anything, right? And you just see how like huge these guys are just from working. And I'm thinking about that with Arnold here. You know, he's just a convict who works. He's just another worker. But of course, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Of course, it's 1987. So you can see, you know, like, you know what he does aside from making movies. And he's huge. He's one of the biggest dudes you've ever seen. And I just love the fact that, yeah, he's this convict who's like perfectly chiseled. And it makes not only this movie, but most of his other movies, it makes it that much better because he's like so larger than life and exaggerated, a real life comic book hero. And it's just, it makes me laugh so much. Where he goes into what, and I'm sure you thought the same thing too about his sweater, the World's Gym. I thought, I wonder if that's like a fake, like a play on Gold's Gym.
No, so Joe Gold, he sold Gold's Gym in the 70s, and then he started a new one because he couldn't use the name, ironically, because it's his name. So he started World Gym. So World Gym was another one in Los Angeles area that was really big. And Arnold in the 80s was like his place to go to. He was literally like CEO and one of the head like owners of World's Gym at that time period.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it sounds weird, but yeah, so World's Gym is the same dude that made Gold's Gym also made World's Gym.
Interesting. But yeah,
I know it feels like a knockoff. If you didn't know anything about it, it does.
I had no idea that World's Gym.
It's got a very similar looking logo and everything.
Yeah, that's why I thought, because that bent barbell with that's why I thought that's what that was. But no, yeah. So he winds up, he's done with his shift or whatever, and goes over to what used to be his brother's apartment or whatever. And
which I love how it still has the same code combination to get in there.
Yeah. Hey, whatever. He gets in, and of course it's not his brother. It's some young, attractive Hispanic, I'm guessing Hispanic Latino woman who is very full of herself, judging by her voicemail, which is pretty funny. But she sees about very convenient, I may add. Right after Arnold Schwarzenegger comes into her apartment, does she see a news segment on, look out for this man.
Yeah. During the Jesse Ventura workout hour.
Yes. And so she sees that, and then all of a sudden Arnold's towering over here saying, "Who are you? Where's my brother?" And I love that, once again, we're going back to the totalitarian society here. Oh, they got rid of the last tenant because of whatever it was. They
put him in a re-education camp because he was associated and stuff, which I was thinking about because I never thought about this. And all the times I watched the movie, and I was thinking about it when we were watching it just recently, I was Arnold learns about this. He never mentions that brother one more time ever in this movie.
Never
this dude's,
I got to find my brother. Maybe my brother's here.
No, it's never brought up. The only thing I can think of is that could have been a lead-in for a sequel, because you could have had him go I got to go find my brother now, Remember that one line that really bypassed probably over most people's heads?
Yeah, no kidding. And I'm also wondering now, the producer for that show, he wasn't really part of the government, right? Or was he?
Who, Richard Dawson, the host of The Running Man?
Yes.
So it almost feels like he's a guy where the TV show is so big that he actually has government power. Because when he's making phone calls, he's talking to the president. If he needs something done, he gets the CIA on the line and whatnot like that. He's able. They're not supposed to technically have police officer prisoners be on the Running Man show, but he pulls some strings and gets it to work. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember he said that, and then I'm thinking because at the end of the movie, I'm thinking, well, okay, he took care of that, but I kind of feel like now he's got to take on the government.
Yeah, that seems like it for Arnold. Yeah, he's got you took out the TV. Now you got to take on the government.
Yeah, I think there could have easily been a sequel there. But no, going back to it, yeah. So he's got a pretty good plan. I mean, for just a runaway convict, he didn't want to be in this game show. He just wanted to go away.
Yeah, he's just trying to hide.
I'd do the same thing, even if I was a giant Shao Kahn of a man. And but this woman, she doesn't believe him whatsoever. I love where he ties her up in her bed, and he's telling her what his plans are. She's going to come with him, and he just lifts up her bed off the floor and rips it out of the floor.
Yeah,
and just another one of those Arnold one-liners too. But no,
well, she's kind of almost got an original Bowflex looking machine in there.
Yes.
I don't know if it actually is a Bowflex, but it sure looks like it's got to be a proto design of that.
Yeah, she does, and it's funny enough that I think she was doing sit-ups. But
it's the weirdest thing. She's watching the Jesse Ventura,
and not doing anything that they're doing on TV.
No, it's more I'm gonna watch this show where other people are doing aerobics, but I'm gonna do sit-ups because I'm a rebel.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do my sit-ups on the Bowflex because I don't get on the floor for those.
Her neighbors were home, and she wanted it to appear like she was doing what was on TV, but she was really just being lazy. But oh boy. But no, yeah. So he has a pretty good plan. He takes her travel pass, whatever that was, and he gets to the airport, and she ruins it for him. Yells out, "Oh, I've got, I've got him here, the convict," and of course they arrest him. But of course that was another scene just full of. This was like Thor Ragnarok level, joke content.
Yeah, but they actually work. They actually feel it feels unlike Thor Ragnarok that feels very in the wrong place for all those jokes, or at least a good majority of them. Here it's they're fine. There's that line I like when she's like, "Oh, I'm going to be sick" and stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, throw up on this shirt."
Throw up. They won't show up.
You can't ruin this shirt. Yeah. That one's a really good line.
Man, yeah, this movie is so colorful. Actually, speaking of her stupid clothing. Now I think about it, why does she have that shirt? Unless he purchased it, or something?
Yeah, maybe he purchased it. That's what I'm kind of thinking.
But yeah, no, all the colors in this movie. It's very appropriate for the time, I guess. In fact, the first thing I thought of, funny enough, when I saw him in those clothes was that Warner Brothers Johnny Cage movie.
Yeah, exactly. The 80s
all the
one.
colors, the vibrant.
Well, and Arnold loves those Hawaiian shirts. So.
Yeah.
Because like this movie here, like by 87, the movie's definitely like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, like, you know. And I think that's another reason probably why Stephen King gets all like, you know, butthurt kind of about like when, you know, these movies are kind of made and they're not like the book. And, you know, he's like, the guy in my book was, you know, not a big old muscle man guy. Like, well, said the guy in your book's like 6'5", so, or 6'2", like, so close enough, you know. I mean, yeah, he's not probably as big as Arnold, but still.
Well, and I'm sure he got paid. So
Yeah. You know,
stop complaining, Steven.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he gets captured, and of course that TV producer guy, he decides to throw him in Running Man, even though he says, I don't want to do it, screw you. And then he says, like, well, we got your pals here who, funny enough, I wasn't quite, I mean, Arnold didn't care enough to help them out with their cause. Wise and I forgot the other guy's last name.
God, I'm drawing a blank right now on their name.
Laughlin.
One of the dudes, yeah, Laughlin. Yeah, and one of those dudes is actually the bad guy. And speaking of 007, Live and Let Die.
Ah, I didn't know that. But yeah, Arnold refuses, of course, and he threatens them. Well, I'll like kill your buddies over here or whatever. But I figured Arnold would have been like, I don't know those guys. I was in prison with them.
Yeah, he was in prison for almost 2 years, I guess. Maybe they did get a relationship.
Maybe they were buddies. And I guess, yeah. But yeah, so he can't see them die. So he, of course, he says, okay, I'll do Running Man. And then it turns out Wise and Laughlin are also being put in Running Man. And then that's when they got shot down that tube, which was pretty crazy, I thought.
Yeah. Get a big old like cart thing. If that feels like that could almost have been a ride at like,
oh yeah, for sure,
Universal Studios. Well, this is a Paramount, I guess. Would have been maybe Paramount.
Great
America. Yeah, back in the day when they used to have themes and when it used to exist, I guess.
Well, that park's getting shut down within the next like 4 years or so.
Yeah.
In 2021, I think I'd seen the news that it was getting shut down within 10 years. I was kind of bummed, but it's not like I was going there anyway.
Yeah, that's the same way I felt too. I was like, man, I kind of wish I went back there, but then I haven't been there since like the early 2000s, maybe.
Same.
So yeah, so I guess I might be part of the reason why it's getting shut down. You know.
Yeah, I'd driven past it with my wife one day when I was dealing with some stuff down in San Jose, and I'm like, yeah, you know, it's closing, so one of these days I'll take you there. And then I thought, like, well, she doesn't like roller coasters or thrill rides whatsoever, so.
Well, and you gotta think about it, like, if you know it's gonna close in a couple years, do you want to go on those rides almost?
Probably not.
Like they got no real reason to put some money into them. It's just like, just make it last.
Yeah. How much life are in those brakes? Okay, we can make it work. You know?
Yeah, we can make it go the next 2 years.
Got loose magnets and stuff in the roller. But anyway, yeah. So that did look like a pretty bitchin' ride, but a little tube rocket deal. I don't know. But yeah, no. That's when the three of them get together. They go up against Sub-Zero, the Asian hockey master of death.
Yep. Which I almost think that's one of the coolest ones of all, like the stalkers, all the villain guys in it.
Man, definitely better than Dynamo.
Yeah, they almost should have like saved the Sub-Zero for a little bit later, I even feel.
Or yeah, I guess. The other one that made me think that maybe Kojima had some inspiration from this one too was really one scene in particular, but the fact that there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 villains altogether. Mm-hmm. Even though Jesse Ventura didn't have that much of a role, especially since he didn't really even fight Arnold.
Yeah.
But the scene with the guy with the flamethrower, that reminded me a lot of the Fury in Metal Gear Solid 3. And he's not a weird cosmonaut thing with a some kind of spirit skull that chases you after you kill him. But still, like running through those halls with the flamethrower and whatnot, I thought, oh man, this really reminds me of that.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it was just a very kind of also made me think a little bit of Big Trouble in Little China. Funny enough.
Yeah, it's got a lot of those elements in there. Very similar vibes.
But yeah, no, Sub-Zero could have been. I feel like he could have been left in there a little longer. Dynamo was very silly. And from here, basically, the three characters, former criminals, former policemen, Arnold, and so on and so forth, they're doing what the game show implies. They are running. They are the running men.
Yeah, trying to survive against these stalkers who are there to kill it. And everybody that watches the show, it's like they're not into trying to watch people survive. They're into watching
die and get beat up and get brutalized and murdered in terrible ways.
Yeah.
So they can win board games.
Yeah, they win board games, and have a bunch of old ladies come in and, make decisions.
I love when, at the point where, they start winning, because up until I guess it went from Sub-Zero to Dynamo
Buzzsaw. Or Buzzsaw, yeah.
But prior to that, I love the scene too where they introduce Buzzsaw before he actually gets in the game. He's like picks up a motorcycle, swings it around, and puts it back down. Like it's the coolest thing ever. Everybody, oh wow! Which I mean, to be honest, like I can't do that.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It's still just it's the way he does it, and like just his persona is so hilarious. Like it's like a kid that picks up a big like rock, and is like, yeah, I did it, and then
I like how there's that one fan where the guy he's like, hey man, can I get an autograph? And he just pushes him over. He's like, dude, he touched me.
Yeah. Dude, he's an asshole. That's true.
Yeah, but they're all like stoked about it.
Kind of made me think of I don't know if you've seen Nacho Libre.
I don't think I ever did see that one. Tell you the truth.
I'm not gonna lie, that's my favorite Jack Black movie.
Really?
I like that more than The Pick of Destiny.
Ooh, that makes me want to see it now because I really like The Pick of Destiny.
I love that movie, but I love that movie a lot, and especially because I'm sure it'd be. I'm sure he'd probably be crucified if he made that movie today because he plays a Mexican. But I think he pulled it off very well. I mean, we've talked about this before. That's why it's called acting.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Is you should be able to play something you're not. That's
exactly. Now, within reason,
Yeah.
Still does a fantastic job, and it's just so freaking funny, dude. And it's what I love about that movie. I'll make this real quick. What I love about that movie is I find it hilarious. It's not a dick joke movie. The comedy's genuine, and there's also a true, not true. There's a legitimate story being told, and he sees through his goals, and it retains the comedy isn't overbearing. The story's not polluted with nonsense, even though it is nonsensical. But it's a great flick. It really is. And but there's a character in that movie who people love, right? But he ends up just being kind of like Buzzsaw, but he's a jerk. And people, oh, can I have your autograph? Fuck you. But anyway, no, you got to check that one out.
Well, it just sounds like he's the heel wrestler that's got to terrorize everybody as he comes in.
When it came out, I thought it was going to be the dumbest movie ever. I thought it looked really stupid, so I didn't see it for 10 years. And I watched it, I'm like, oh, dude, what was I missing? But
that happens every once in a while where you just it looks goofy, and then you actually sit down and watch it, like, oh, this is pretty good.
That's half the movies I watch. I nowadays I don't. I stopped. I now give the benefit of the doubt for every movie I watch.
That's kind of what I do.
Into it for if I'm watching a movie for a half an hour, 45 minutes, I'm like, dude, I'll press pause to go to the bathroom, and I'm like, there's still 2 hours to go. You kidding me? And I start watching something else.
Yeah, if it doesn't catch you, I hate to sort of say it's at that point where there's only so much time in the day. There's no need to waste it on a movie you don't want to watch.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, yeah. So Buzzsaw, they show him, and I don't remember if they introduced Dynamo before he actually went in the field.
Well, he does that opera singing part.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The,
Which that dude, I think, was an actual singer or something like that.
Yeah, he was an interesting guy. He died like not long after this movie was made.
Yeah. He died before the movie even came out the theaters.
Oh, that's right.
And he was like 34.
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised. The dude was pretty obese.
Yeah, he was huge, and yeah, and Dynamo's kind of like he's the most.
He's the worst villain.
Yeah,
I think
he's he's rapey and everything like that too. And for some reason, he's only wearing underwear.
I remember the
I do like the part though when he crashes his little car, or I guess it's pretty big. Let's be honest, it's kind of a big car, a big guy in a little car maybe, and he flips it over and he's like, "Cut the commercial! No!" It's like he breaks the fourth wall, like
Yeah, no, that was pretty freaking hilarious. I guess I'll put it this way: I hate him as a villain. If they're supposed to be taken seriously, he's like the worst one. But being the movie it is, and just the fact that it's ridiculous, an 80s, it's an 80s action flick. I'm glad he's in it. Like,
yeah,
very glad because it's so ridiculous. You're like, I can't wait for that guy to die.
Yeah, and ironically, that's the guy that like does not die right for a while.
Not immediately.
Yeah, he dies later on.
He's actually not murdered. Funny enough, but yeah. So Arnold and his buddies are rolling through this fight or the game show. Arnold's constantly throwing his puns back at the cameras that are recording him, and then Mendez, she uncovers the truth about Arnold and learns that he was telling her the truth.
Yeah, she finds the actual video footage and everything like that, and the unedited. Because look, at this time period, people don't realize that the news actually just broadcast propaganda. How about that?
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, crazy. A crazy idea, and nowadays more than ever, propaganda is the number one seller.
I tell people a lot that they should watch the movie Wag the Dog, and because I don't know if you've seen that.
I haven't seen that one either.
Oh man, it's a great movie. It really is. It's I can't remember who's in it, but that's one that is exactly about that. About the fact that it's by Barry Levinson.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good director.
Black comedy, political satire, stars Dustin Hoffman and Robert De Niro. I think you really enjoy that film. It's basically about the way that politics influences the media and how it controls the media and everything, and that a lot of what you see is really not real, in a lot of ways, or just very, very stretched. But definitely a good flick. You should really watch it.
Yeah, I'll definitely throw that one on the list for sure.
Yeah. Excuse me. But anyway, yeah, so he's throwing his insults back at the producer, like, screw you, I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep winning, And that's when Mendez, after being caught, after she found the truth, they throw her in the game. I wasn't quite sure why. I mean, they could have just killed her, like.
Yeah, so I felt like, whatever, bonus round, throw her in there.
Because I didn't see I was wondering what the advantage for the producer and whatnot to have her in the game would be, but I guess maybe to distract Arnold, and maybe they really thought that they were an item. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, or if anything, just a distraction for the fact that Arnold be like, "What the hell are you doing here?" Which pretty much is his reaction. Yeah,
I love when he says like, about they really think we're together. And he's like, oh, well, like I can strangle you on the on the camera, because he's got to be still pissed that she ruined his escape plan.
Yeah, but, exactly.
She's the reason he's in there.
There's another line he has. He's like, it was going so good till you fucked it up. He's like, I had the shit.
Yeah, that's true, man. Yeah, so and right after she gets there, that's pretty much when they run up on Buzzsaw and Dynamo, and Buzzsaw's got a pretty bitchin' setup there. He's got chainsaws and a motorcycle.
Yeah, he's pretty good, and he's just like oozing like from the gills, like almost like just like power lifter, just ridiculous.
Oh yeah, man, he's definitely like late 80s, early 90s level WWF cocaine, like persona there.
Yeah, just sweating out steroids.
But yeah, so they fight them, and I love how he like either nicks or like goes past Laughlin, and it's enough for Laughlin to be, oh, that son of a bitch, and he like wants to go after him, and Wise is like, no man, no. And I'm just thinking, like, what chance do you think you have? Like, you were an unarmed dude against this guy on a motorcycle with 2 chainsaws, and this man is also giant.
Yeah.
Like,
He picked up a motorcycle earlier on. If you forgot.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so there's the fight with all them. Wise and what's her name, Mendez, go to this little room where how they know where this crap is and stuff, I don't know. Maybe they just
like they've been here before. Like, you know, it's not like they have a map or anything. Like, you think that they would almost just work that into the plot, be like, yo, here's this map they got from the underground thing. Like, he smuggled it in his butt or something. You know, I don't know.
But yeah, so Wise, he's like programming the head end.
Yeah, the satellite uplink. You know.
Yeah, he's programming it to what is it? Display or broadcast like the truth about everything and blah blah blah, and she's there. He's like, remember what I say here, and she can't remember shit. And but then I guess she ends up remembering what he tells her later on. But it seems like she's just like having the hardest time.
Well, those are always those parts in movies. I always think about it, like when someone goes, hey, remember all these numbers and letters real quick. And I just think of myself. I just go, okay, if I was in this situation, like I'll be watching the movie and be like, try to remember it. Oh, God, yeah. It's like, forget it. I'm not remembering 12 digits. 12 random digits. Yeah, sure. Good luck.
Like anything after 2, and I'm like, sorry.
Yeah. Maybe 4.
Paper, dude. All right.
Yeah.
But that's when Dynamo shows up, and somehow with these magic electricity powers from his fucking light bright suit, like just Raiden zaps fucking Wise. Like, I'm like, what the hell kind of weapon is that? Like, you're not that far in the future. Come on. But,
2019.
Oh man. But yeah, he kills Wise, of course, with his magic electricity, and then chases after her a little bit, I think, and maybe not. I think she takes off, and then meets up with Arnold after he kills Buzzsaw. After Buzzsaw tries to gift him his chainsaw.
Yeah.
Says, no thanks. You keep it.
Yeah, just cuts his crotch with it.
And then they go to get Laughlin, but Buzzsaw, mortally wounded him, or fatally wounded, and then that's when Arnold, he's kind of his like come to Jesus moment there. He's like really upset. He's like, you saved my life, and but then that's when him and her decide to make a break for it and just keep on going. And they run into Dynamo again, as expected, in his tiny little car. And Arnold leads him to, like lures him to drive up this hill, in which case it topples on itself. And that's when he's talking about it. He's like, cut to commercial, I can't get out. Help me.
He's stuck in like his Power Wheel, flipped over on the side.
It's hilarious. And that's when Arnold, I think most of the people out there in the crowd are like, wait a minute, are you sure this guy killed all these people? Because, when he's there defenseless, Arnold's like, I won't kill this man, even if he is a disgusting idiot. He's unarmed. He's not a threat. Why would I kill him? So then he takes off, and then what's hilarious is when the producer guy starts asking people like, all right, who do you think's going to have the next kill? And the old lady's like, I think he's I can't even remember his name in the film.
Who, Ben Richards?
Richard. Ben
yeah,
Richard.
well, because there's that old lady goes like, she's like, I could choose anybody I want, and I choose Ben Richards. That boy's one mean motherfucker.
It's pretty hilarious. And but yeah, and then of course the producer guy's all pissed off that people are betting on Ben instead of his own guys. And also at this time too, well before this actually, they showed to the audience, as I guess they always do, the previous winners, and that they're living it up. They're having a great time. Who knows where?
Like a Hawaii or something. Yeah,
stuff like that, and good for them. And then you find out shortly after Arnold and Mendez leave Dynamo under a stupid car, alive. The guy, I can't remember his name, but he had the jetpack.
Yeah, Fireball, Jim Brown.
Fireball. Yeah. and he's chasing them and so on and so forth. And she runs into this locker room and discovers all these corpses. Well, that happens to be the previous winners. And I love the stinking the line from him. He corners her in there, Fireball. She's like, "Oh, these are the last winners," and he goes, "No, the losers." Like, it's like, yeah.
Last year's losers. One thing I will say though, I feel like Jim Brown kind of gets shafted a little bit. Like I feel like he could have had a little bit bigger
it was
part.
a very minimal.
Yeah, because they bring him in like, oh, he's the top stalker, and everything like that. It's going to be great. And literally all that he really gets is he comes in there, and he's going to torture, and then Arnold just swings by behind, pull his like fuel cable, and then he's running around like, oh, my fuel. And then Arnold takes that flare and chucks it at him, and he blows up. Yeah. Like, so I feel like there could have been a little bit more of a fight between Jim Brown and Arnold there.
I feel like there could have been. It's funny, right? Because a lot of Arnold movies have some serious action scenes with him. This one is an action film. There's a lot of action in it, but they're not. None of his fights are exactly like. There's no boss battles.
No, they're kind of quick and to the point.
They are. And they really are. Maybe that's for the sake of time or something. I don't know, because there is like 5 of them.
Yeah, there's quite a bit.
But still, it's like you'd think there'd have been one in there where it was, like a 5 to 7 minute brawl.
Yeah, like so something from like They Live, or like Roddy Piper and Keith David fight for like 9 minutes in the alleyway.
And they're buddies.
Yeah, and they're buddies. And that's the thing, is that they just have to let each other know how much friends they are. So they just have to have this slobber knocker battle, Well, because then it's like, the next part that comes up is that Killian gets this idea that, what we're going to do is we're going to have Jesse Ventura, Captain Freedom, come in and whatnot. And then Jesse Ventura comes out, he's like, I don't want to wear this gimmicky shit, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. I'm out of here. It's like, can he do that? Like, he just walked out of the building. There he goes. So they do something that once again would seem extremely sci-fi for like the last 25 years, where it's like, okay, so they're just going to take some stunt doubles and then CGI over deep fake Jesse Ventura and Arnold Schwarzenegger over these guys and have them fight to the death, which like nowadays you're like, that's something that they 100% do all the time.
Yes. Yep.
And it's getting to the point where it's pretty darn close to you can't tell what's the difference.
Not anymore. Holy crap.
I will. But
dude, go on.
I was going to say, but I do have kind of like mixed feelings about this scene here, because you do actually get Arnold and Jesse Ventura fighting, but since I know movie-wise that it's not those two and it's kind of like fake, it makes it feel like it's like empty and like something's missing. Like we didn't get the legitimate Jesse Ventura and Arnold Schwarzenegger fight that I wish was in the movie.
Yeah, and that's kind of it. And that's also where I was like, well, what even? I guess he just left, Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, he just leaves and he never comes back.
No, I love that. Like, it'd have been cool if he decided to like team up with Arnold and the other guys. Like, I'm gonna help you out. Fuck these guys.
Yeah,
or something. But no, that's it. What a dick. But no, I love that scene though, where he comes in there and he starts complaining. His outfit, by the way, it looks like a Halloween costume. Like, it looks worse than Dynamo's, which is a hard one to beat. I'm sorry, which is not an easy one to It's not a hard one to beat. His outfit sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, he comes in there, and I love him yelling at the guy, the pointing and the yelling and all this, and he's so bold, and it made me think of like the wrestling like shouting matches, where they'll get on
promo.
Yes, exactly. It made me think of a wrestling promo. It's pretty hilarious. And just his facial expressions too, like when I think the Attitude Era, The Rock versus Austin, like the constant, like one of them's yelling and screaming and the other one's like
just staring, taking it in.
Oh, dude.
That's really what made Jesse Ventura like one of the probably like my favorite guy on the mic when it came down to announcing is because he just talked like shit and like was almost like because you don't see that like in other commentators later on, but like he would just talk like mad shit about whoever the hell was up there. Like he was almost like having the bad commentator, and then Vince McMahon's trying to keep it all like, and you see here Jesse and stuff, and and Jesse's pointing out like, oh, he's an idiot, like his family sucks.
I'm gonna have to look up some YouTube videos on his commentating because that sounds amazing.
Yeah, well, it's probably one of those ones, like, if you've watched pretty much any of those matches from give or take 85 to somewhere around, I was going to say 95, but I don't know if he goes that far up, but you've probably seen him on the commentary. Well, like a lot of those, like WrestleMania 3 and all that stuff, I want to say he's the commentator on that one and so on, where Hogan's fighting Andre.
Okay. Yeah, well, for me, the commentators I'll always remember was always Jim Ross and Larry King.
Jerry the King.
Or Jerry King, jeez. Yeah. But Larry King, that'd be weird. But and how I just remembered, I think it was it's got to be one of the best ones they ever did, was where Mankind was fighting the Undertaker in the Hell in a Cell.
The Hell in a Cell one? Yeah.
And, oh my God.
You just get literally choke slammed off the top.
I just imagined, like, I don't know what it'd been like to just sit right next to those guys and they're just like screaming like they've just had the world's worst Chinese food or something, and they just like can't stop shitting. Oh my God. Like,
and then next door you always have the poor like Mexican commentators who they always would get their table broken in.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny. But anyway, yeah, so Jesse Ventura, yeah, what a loss there. That was lost potential, I think.
Yeah, I think that's like the kind of the biggest bummer of this movie is that like you build up Jesse Ventura in there the whole time and you think you're gonna have this sweet battle of Arnold, and it's there, but it's uncanny, so it's not real.
It doesn't feel authentic.
Yeah,
like and I get it. The idea is to fool the audience, but you and I are the audience, but not their audience.
Yeah,
so,
it's like we're getting double fooled. Like that audience is getting fooled, but we're getting fooled because we know.
If it would have actually been Jesse Ventura and Arnold, like, just think about it. You could have had better lines, like from Arnold, probably from Jesse too. I can imagine there would have been like this rivalrous battle. Like, you think you're the biggest, baddest? No way, man. Like, that's me. Like, I don't know. It is what it is. I guess we've kind of beaten that dead horse. But
and I know one thing too is that because Jesse Ventura is bigger than Arnold, and I think there's always that movie thing. Yeah, because he's 6'5", almost 300 pounds, where Arnold's only 6'2", about probably 225 in his movie days.
Yeah.
220 probably.
Even in Predator, man. Like when I first watched Predator, I was just thinking like, I used to think in the action movies, like when there'd be someone who was like just like way bigger than the main character, I'm like, why aren't they the main character? Like, but Jesse Ventura's huge. He's got a minigun. He doesn't have time to bleed. Yeah. But but yeah, nope. There Jesse went. You don't see him again, and
never comes back.
Again, I'm like, what happened to him? And then I didn't realize, like, he just left. But then, so at that point, everybody thinks that he's dead in the audience. And they're like, oh, he had a good run, whatever. But then Arnold, and I guess unbeknownst to the producer and them, like, they probably have the idea that he's still somewhere. They can't find him. But he meets up with all these rebels, him and Mendez.
Yeah, and, they find Mick Fleetwood underneath, who's running this rebel encampment of Fleetwood Mac.
And they Dweezil well off.
And Dweezil Zappa's down there, too.
Yeah.
That's the interesting about this movie. This movie has like one of those casts where it's like it's got a bunch of people in it that at first glance you just go, okay, Arnold's the big name and so on. But then you're like, there's so many like sports stars and musicians and all kinds. It's just got like a hodgepodge of like just cool, interesting actors appearing in this.
Yeah.
Or celebrities.
But they Mendez seems to have had been holding on to the tapes of the footage of Arnold not killing people, and they decide to kind of make their stand against these people. They got all these got these rebel troops, whatever. I love Arnold's hand signals too when they, get suited up and everything and go out there. Arnold's like, and his joke to her, she pulls out this mini Uzi with a little suppressor and an optic on top, and he's like, "Where did you put that?" And where did you hide that? She says something like it's a secret or whatever, and it's like, haha, yeah, that thing's giant. You weren't shoving that up anywhere.
Yeah.
No, so they go out there and split up a little bit. Dynamo comes back. It's kind of funny. That scene kind of reminded me of the intro to Star Wars, where like Dynamo's this bizarre version of Darth Vader or something. She kills the rebels, or the rebels get killed, and then Dynamo comes out.
He comes in, except for he's got rapey intentions in his underwear suit.
That's the thing. I didn't realize he was wearing underwear in the scene before. I thought he was, I don't know why. I just
yeah. He's just wearing this like big old whitey tidy looking thing underneath this light bright kit.
Yeah, and she makes that comment to him like, yeah, like he's like, what are you laughing at? And, I just think it's funny, this dickless guy with a battery up his butt.
Yeah, coming in like Baby Huey.
Oh man, yeah, no kidding. Baby Huey. And then he gets she doesn't kill him. He gets rained on by the sprinkler system, and that's how he dies.
Yeah, he electrocutes himself.
But fair enough. I mean, he was given a chance and he ruined it. And then so she uploads the tapes. Everybody sees it, and Arnold confronts
Gillian,
and then straps him to the thing. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, before you even get to that, like, okay, so they show him the real footage, and this is something I kind of think about, like, in today's kind of context. If you showed people the real truth footage, all of a sudden, I have a feeling that most people in the audience would not believe that, because they like this show so much. I don't think that they would believe any of that stuff, to tell you the truth.
No, I don't think I'm sure some people would, and I'm sure some people wouldn't care.
Yeah, I'm for sure a good majority would be like, that's fucking stupid. Let's get out of here.
I like the other one better. That kind of thing. And my wife's dad said something one time to her that she relayed to me, and I have to agree with them. A lot of people all the Christians out there that believe that Jesus Christ is coming back and whatever. Mm-hmm. He said to her, he's like, the minute the actual Jesus Christ would come back, people would kill him. They wouldn't believe him. They wouldn't believe him. They would think that he's
they think he's Rasputin or something.
A drug addict or whatever, and they demonize him and do away with him. Like, that's not how people work. The masses they wouldn't just accept that. But
no, the Romans would come back out, and the next thing you know, he'd be on a cross again. Like, wait a second, we're just repeating this.
Yeah, but same concept. Yeah, it's no, I don't think the people wouldn't give a crap. Same thing. Nah, we like the other version better. Nah, we don't believe it. I just don't care. I'm just here for the show.
Because I always think about that, especially in movies where it's like when you have you have this audience that really likes something, like it's one of those ones, like, I feel like you're not going to sway their opinion very quickly.
Oh, no.
Not at all, especially if they really like that show. It's different if they didn't like it and they're forced to be watching it. That would be something else, But I always think about that when that happens in movies and stuff like that, but especially in this one, because I just think about that audience. That audience is so ravenous towards the Running Man show that I'm pretty sure they're almost probably disappointed that their show is now canceled.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the end of the Running Man. Literally.
Like now what do they have in life? Nothing.
Nothing.
This is a dystopian world, and that was it.
That was all they had to look forward to, and Arnold took that away from them. Arnold and Mick Fleetwood.
But and that was pretty much it. So they Arnold ruined the show for everyone. Now, if anybody didn't like him before, now they like him less. But now he shows the true colors of this guy, shoves him in the little rocket ride, and sends him flying down a tube. And I love how he gets shot through that thing, and somehow maybe I missed something, but it's like 10 times more dangerous now.
Yeah, and for some reason he shoots off a jump.
Yes, shoots off a jump through his sign, through himself on the sign, and explodes.
Yeah.
But that's in cinema history. I mean, everything
Just happens.
everything explodes when they, fall off a cliff or whatever.
Yeah.
That blew my mind the first time. It was my mom's ex-husband told me that cars don't blow up when they fall off a cliff. I was kind of sad.
Yeah, well, that was a big problem that they used to like have to tell people, be like, whoa, cars don't, when they roll over, they don't just blow up, because people would be really injured in there, but they would be like crawling out no matter what to get out of that car because they're afraid it was going to blow up.
Yeah,
it's not like Grand Theft Auto where every single time you flip a car, it just like catches on fire and then blows up, and you go get a new one.
I can imagine the first time that was in cinema, right? And a director's like, all right, so then it's going to go off this cliff about 100 feet and the car's going to blow up. And I can imagine somebody like, why?
Because it's fucking cool.
Because that's what's going to happen. Cars don't do that. Sure they do. They do now.
Yeah. I suppose it's like, that's the cool thing. It's going to blow up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that first episode of Speed Racer. It's like, dude, Speed Racer knocks a dude off a cliff and the car flies off the edge and blows up. I'm like, dude, Speed Racer just murdered that guy like in a literally car race and didn't give a flying fuck.
You can talk all day about Speed Racer and how inappropriate that is. That I didn't know that till like a year or two ago. Like, I mean, I guess it's subjective, right? And a lot of it's
60s.
Context.
Yeah.
But still, like when you're watching some of those scenes, I'm like, who's writing this? It's a pretty extreme anime there.
Yeah, post World War II Japanese guys are who's writing that.
Yeah, I feel like because there's a lot of people older than you and I that just like will continue to demonize anime, that won't watch it, won't try watching it or whatever. But I feel like Speed Racer is one of those ones that people that don't even know what anime is, they still know what Speed Racer is.
Yeah, because in the 60s, they watched alongside Johnny Quest and so on.
Yes.
That's like the time, though, because Speed Racer was one of the first animes that I watched as a kid. But you didn't put two and two together that it was an anime at the time period. I just remember being like, there's something slightly different about this show, but I can't put my finger on what it is. But I really like Speed Racer a lot, It's almost like they try to hide them. Like they kind of like, put them in between like American shows, like the same way they did Voltron. So you didn't question it. It was there, but you couldn't question it enough because it just backed up against other things. You're like,
Transformers 2, I think. Wasn't that also an anime?
Well, Transformers,
show?
It's just animated by Japanese people. So it's an anime by that standard, but it's written by Americans.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, for the most part, Americans stopped animating stuff generally post like 60s. It's like they're like, no, somebody else is gonna do this. Screw this. We'll draw a couple concept pictures, put out a treatment, and you guys do the rest of the work. We'll see you in 6 months.
Outsourcing at its finest.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but
yeah, Running Man. Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger has super happy ending. Kills Killian. Gets the girl. For some reason, everybody's fine with this, even though they have no show anymore. The whole TV station's down.
I also thought it was kind of funny that all of a sudden now him and her, maybe it's because they realize they have nothing left in life, but all of a sudden like they're an item, like they were trying to convince everyone that they were not.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, whatever, we got this far. You know? They take over and so on. The interesting thing is the ending that's in the book, though, I don't know if it would work for the Arnold Schwarzenegger one necessarily, but I could think if you like alternated it. So what happens is towards the end of the book is the dude hijacks a plane or whatnot and flies it in and crashes it into the television studio is how that, and it literally like he crashes into the television studio. There's like one more line, book's over.
Wow.
It's pretty ballsy ending, and I like that one a lot for that. I couldn't imagine Arnold Schwarzenegger doing that, but I could see maybe him like just crashing a plane and jumping out kind of like scenario, and blows up the entire running with the audience in there and everything. Because literally this, because like in the book though, it's not like that. Once again, it's a TV show, but like they just watch it at home in a sense. Nobody's like, there's not like an in studio audience and so on. And Killian is like, he's only in it like for certain scenes where he just like calls up, Ben Richards in the book. He's not there as much as he is like in the movie.
Yeah, of course. I'm looking so the new Running Man is already out, or
no? It comes out this week. So by the time this episode comes up, that's the week that it'll be up. So I'm just interested to see like what, because I haven't watched any of the trailers or anything on it. I just want to go into it like totally fresh. I kind of want to see, because it looks like it's almost just from the movie poster. It's going to kind of combine the elements of both the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie and some of the Stephen King like darker tones and so on like that.
I see.
Because there was a while there they were trying to make the movie in the 80s, and they were actually going to have Christopher Reeve was actually going to play Ben Richards in it, Superman.
Huh.
And then he kind of fell out, and then, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger came in, and initially it was going to be a little bit darker, even with Arnold in there and so on. It's probably going to still have Arnold, ness to it, Arnoldisms. Yeah. But, it was going to have this darker story, and then they kind of turned it more to like this... slightly more like over the top kind of comic booky is the best way I can kind of say it, which once again, I like that a lot. I like any of those ways is there, but because it's Edgar Wright, and Edgar Wright's always amazing with his directing and everything like that, I think this new Running Man is going to be pretty slick.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know if Arnold's going to have a cameo, but I kind of wish he would.
I know. Right. I always, for all of these remakes that happen with, where some of these action legends are in, I'm always hoping for a cameo with like, kind of like Dredd. I was hoping to see what's his name, Stallone in there. But honestly, I'm not that upset about it. I thought Carl Urban did a fantastic job in the movie, and
that movie's so good as is.
I love that movie. I saw that in theaters, and
same here.
I was so glad because I actually I didn't know a lot about Dredd. So, in fact, I knew nothing about Judge Dredd when I first saw that. I went and saw it, and then years later, I rewatched it after. Knowing Stallone was the first one and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna rewatch. I wonder if he's in it now, but not that I know of. But no, it's stuff like that with some of these movies that I don't know, man. I mean, sometimes I realize that not a lot of people like these films as much as us.
Yeah, that's kind of that, Well, this is what I thought would be kind of cool. I get what they're in the new Edgar Wright movie. They're using like the Killian from the book, and the Killian in the book is a black dude, so it's like that makes sense there. But I almost kind of thought like in an alternative way, who actually would have been a cool Killian would have been Arnold Schwarzenegger if he played that character, the TV host. Because I feel like he could have chewed that up real well, being Arnold and everything.
Yeah,
and that's a perfect example. Is he could have done it like at his age now too.
I don't know if Arnold's been too many villains. In fact, The Terminator's the only one I can think of. Yeah,
that's about one of the only times he's really a villain is in Terminator 1. And he switched that one around real quickly and made the Terminator a good guy.
I guess you could say he was also a villain, a minor villain in Terminator Salvation.
Well, there's the CG version of himself.
There's a CGI cameo of him.
Yeah.
In the end of that, but it's really... not.
Well, Terminator Genesis, he has because he goes and he kills the younger version of himself.
Oh, I haven't seen Genesis.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Is that the last one that came out?
No, it's the second to last one that came out.
The last one. Did you see that one?
Yeah, Dark Fate. That one's okay. It's not bad.
I didn't hear very many good things about it.
Yeah, I'll say this. Arnold's really good in it. It takes a while for him to kind of show up, but he's really good as always. Linda Hamilton's kind of good. The downfall that like a lot of times Terminators though is they keep resetting that or reusing that same cat and mouse chase formula that like every single Terminator has. And it's that thing that like sometimes it's like, you could take Terminator and it doesn't have to be that same style. Like change genres on it where it's like, okay, well in this Terminator, guess what? It's going to be a war movie instead, and we're going to treat it like a war movie because that's kind of what Skynet Battle is.
Yeah.
Instead of always having to be like, there's a killer coming after this one person and we got to protect them and we're going to have this cat and mouse chase for the next 2 hours. And don't get me wrong, I like Terminator movies, but they just kind of repeat that formula a little too much.
And also, I think you and I have talked about it before, but when I was young, I thought it was cool. Time travel. Now I think it's stupid.
I agree. I kind of agree with you too. I'm one of those ones. I think time travel is actually a kind of lame device in movies.
What's to say that there's not people all the time constantly just, hey, I'm here from the I'm here from the past. I mean, like they make it out in these films like it can only be done once. Why? I mean, like it becomes such a complicated, screwed up concept, and all the different ideas and theories and ridiculous like explanations that people will give to. It's just like when people start arguing about why character A will beat up character B from these two different companies or comic book series and stuff. It's like, it doesn't matter. You don't know. You really don't. Like this is all semantic, you know?
Yep.
And I just don't get me wrong. I love the Terminator. I love T2 even better than the Terminator. Partly for nostalgia. I've only seen parts of 3. I don't know why. I never saw that full movie.
Yeah. I mean, I like all the Terminator movies. Don't get me wrong. Even with like some of the faults or they're not necessarily faults. It's just they just repeat the same thing.
I
it's just
I really liked Salvation. I know
I like that one a lot too.
Like that one, but I thought it was great.
I loved it. Yeah.
I mean, I liked how they showed what was going on in the future right before John Connor goes to the past. Or not John Connor.
Kyle Reese.
Kyle Reese, yes.
Yeah, the one that's like, I'll say, if you want a really good Terminator story to complement Terminator 1 and 2 a lot, there's that video game that came out about 5 years ago or something like that on PS4, and it's on Xbox as well, too. Dude, that Terminator game, it's made by the same people who did RoboCop, that one. It recently came out as well. So good, because what it does is it takes place in the future in 2029, and it's literally all about getting Kyle Reese back in time to do that. So you kind of go through it, and it plays like Fallout Light, but I kind of like that in a sense where it's like, it's not Fallout complicated where you got a bunch of stuff you have to manage everything. It just takes the best elements of Fallout and just gives you just this a little bit that you need for upgrades and a little bit you need for all this kind of stuff. But yeah, that game was amazing. Just a story about it and everything, because that was what I always wanted to see as a kid. I always wanted to see just a purely futuristic Terminator movie. You know, and Salvation kind of gives you that, because that was the thing is I'd watch 1 and 2 and all those futuristic scenes. I used to always go was like, imagine if the entire movie was that. How badass would that be? And that's what I always wanted to see, and they just never totally gave it to us exactly. But that video game is literally that in a sense.
There's also a Terminator anime. I never saw that. I don't know if you've seen it. I think it's called Terminator Zeros or something.
No, that was one of those Netflix ones, and I hate to sort of say it.
Oh.
Whenever there are Netflix animated shows, I don't think I've ever seen one that I thought was actually really that good. You know, well, the Scott Pilgrim one wasn't too bad, but for the most part, so many of them, they're just like, they're not terrible, but they're so in middle of the road, like mediocre, like
I like Castlevania.
Yeah, that one I liked the initial like I think couple seasons, and then it started petering out by like 3. And
I liked that one. I didn't get into. They did another one, but it wasn't the same story. It was something else, and I didn't.
Oh, really Nocturno. I like this.
Nocturno.
Yeah, I like the way that the animation looked. But I remember Ryan told me, Ryan Dunnigan, he told me that he's like, yeah, you might not like it because it kind of does the same similar format that those later seasons were doing. I'm like, you know, it's like, you know, it's kind of like they did the same thing. They did that Devil May Cry one, and I just could not get.
I didn't even watch it.
I felt like it was one of those ones. It was somebody who kind of liked Devil May Cry, but didn't get like fully invested into it. I don't know. Yeah. It's just, as I said, like mostly now I'm almost at that point where if a cartoon one comes out on Netflix, I'm like, unless I really, really like something, I'm not going out my way for it. I hate to start saying it. I feel like I've been burned too many times on those ones.
Well, don't worry. I'll keep you on the loop on them, or whether or not they're worth watching.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I watched that Tomb Raider one because I like Tomb Raider so much, and I went through the whole thing on that, and it was okay. Once again, it was nothing. I feel
I'm in the same boat as you with the Disney series.
Yeah, they should be really good. Like I don't know, it's weird. It's like
especially the budgets they have.
Yeah, well, it's like I feel like if that would have came out like in 2003, it would have been amazing. Like if they did like a Tomb Raider animated one, it'd be like, oh, this is great. They did a Castlevania animated one back in the day, it would have been really dialed in. And then like I don't know, nowadays it's like they can't. It's for some reason like they'll have the violence, they'll have sometimes the action, I think, but it's like something's missing. It's like there's like an uncanny valley that like they just can't comprehend, and they just don't sometimes get characters exactly right, and I don't know. But yeah, Running Man. Always an excellent experience. 87. Have you ever played? I'm gonna say this. Have you ever played the game Smash TV from Midway?
I don't think so.
So, Proto Ed Boon and John Tobias worked on it, and it's literally the best way to say it. It's like if the Running Man had an arcade game. That's exactly what it is. You literally are two guys, top down view, twin stick shooter, and you pretty much go through different stages, and you're on a TV show, and they got the announcer just like Killian, where it's like, big money, big prizes. I love it. And there's just copious amounts of gore and violence. And once again, it's John Tobias artwork, so.
It looks like a more like a silly looking Overkill.
Yeah, that's actually kind of what it's like. But, yeah, that game's super good. I kid you not. One of those ones. And there's a sequel called Total Carnage.
Looks like there's also Super Smash TV.
I think that's just the Super Nintendo version.
Oh. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, but the arcade one, you can get it like on Xbox. They have like that Midway Arcade Classics collection.
Yeah.
It's on that one.
Interesting.
But yeah, dude, it's well worth playing just because like it's literally like I'm so surprised that it's not even just like a Running Man game because it's all there, But it's funny because there's a lot of stuff that got like inspired post Running Man because they said that American Gladiators, like they literally kind of like put that together based on the Running Man. They're like they even cut some scenes out of it and everything. They're like, so we want to do this minus the killing. So that Smash TV, and then the fact that like if you think about it, a lot of things kind of ripped off Running Man as time went on. Like I remember like when there was both Battle Royale, the Japanese movie, which is really good. I was telling you about that. And then there's Hunger Games and all that stuff. And I just remember going like, dude, that's literally Running
Hunger
Man.
Games,
like
for sure. And like I was saying earlier, when we started, there's so many movies that have this whole premise of the dystopian future where like there's either this competition where you got to survive and not die, where everything's banned. Like Equilibrium, I think is the name, with Christian Bale. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time, but yeah, I remember that one.
There's a kind of an okay movie. It's not a very good movie, with Justin Timberlake. I can't remember what the name is called. That's probably going to be the first one that comes up here.
I did find one that sounds kind of interesting. That it's a French movie that came out in '83 that pretty much has almost like a very similar story. It's called Le Prix Du Danger. And it's literally a TV show, like the same exact concept as like the Running Man book and everything like that. And they almost wanted to sue Stephen King and, even though ironically, but it's based off a 50s story, I guess is what that one is. But I could not find that movie to save my life in either a subtitled or dubbed version. That's the weird thing is there's some of these French movies. It's like, I don't know why they have like no distribution like outside of France.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of like the new Frankenstein that just came out. It was only released in France, and now it's on Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. Once again, which is such a bummer. It's just like when those movies don't go to theaters, it just makes they have that feeling like it's a straight to DVD movie.
I think his movie. Oh, it's called In Time, the movie with Justin Timberlake. It's the same kind of thing where it's the future. Dystopian kind of. Funny enough, that the dude who plays Leonard from Big Bang Theory is in it.
Oh, okay.
But he's a very minor character. You don't see him for very long. But basically, everybody has like the premise is you have a countdown. Like it takes place in 2169. People are genetically engineered to stop aging on their 25th birthday, and when you're a year away from that, you get a countdown on your forearm, like a timer. And there's like ways where you can pay for more time. You can all this kind. It's the same kind of like setting though. Like it's in the future. Unless you're rich, you're fucked. And it's not a great movie. So I'm glad I spent the time looking that up so I can tell you. But I think it's worth a watch, even though it's not amazing if you've never seen it. But it's I guess my point here is so many studios and directors and stuff are always. It seems like everyone wants to play this game. You know, the whole like the shitty future where everything's gray and concrete, and you know, you have to really fight to survive, or else just nothing. Your life sucks.
Yeah, one of those kind of ones.
They're cool when they're cool. They're awesome when they're awesome, like Running Man. I don't know. I'm actually looking forward to seeing this new one. I'm really interested to see how it pans out. I don't know if I'm going to wait for my wife to get home to watch that one or not, but the 14th is when that comes out.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I'm going to go, we'll probably go see it the 13th or whatever, because I think that's Thursday, but on its initial release. But I'm super stoked for that. That's actually like the one, like, I remember when I initially heard about it, I'm like, cool, Running Man remake. I'm like, I'd go see that. I'm like, I'm always interested in those alternative versions. Kind of like when they had the Total Recall one. I'm like, yeah, the Arnold Schwarzenegger one, like, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. But I'll go watch
like
the other one anyway.
Farrell that did this.
Yeah. It's not bad, you know. I thought it was still enjoyable because, you know, it kind of used a little bit more elements from the book and whatnot, or like the short story. So it's the same way I kind of look at this new one. It's like that. But once I saw that it had Edgar Wright in it, it's like that changed everything. I was like, I'm like super stoked now, you know, because his movies are always fantastic. So yeah, that's gonna be cool. And yeah, at least, you know, Running Man's still kind of there, because that was kind of one of those movies that I feel when it goes to like Arnold, it's probably, for most people, it's not like a top 10 Arnold movie. It's kind of like one of those more like hidden gem flicks of his, you know, I would say. You know, of course, if you're really into Arnold, you know this movie for sure. But I feel like there's a lot of people that might not have seen Running Man throughout time. You know, it's not as big as, I would say, you know, of course, Conan's and Terminators and Predator and yada, 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 of True Lies and all that kind of stuff. But, no, it's one of the ones that, like, it always puts a smile on my face. I love it every single time I watch it. Like, no matter what, it's just an excellent film. And yeah, even if it is kind of goofy and weird, and it has some, like, you know, things that maybe aren't, you know, necessarily perfect or something like that, like, everything else kind of just makes up for it, for how good of a time you're gonna have. Yeah.
No, you know? I couldn't agree less.
But yeah, beyond all that good fun stuff, go check out more Old Man Orange podcast on YouTube and Spotify. Till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Dave Candido.
And we'll see you some other time.